On this episode, we got Gatoh Move ChocoPro in their final matches for the annual first ever OOAK Tag League. We will see who will advance. Also, the NWA had their main event will feature the crowning of a brand new NWA National Champion, AEW Dark. Well, we could say now this could be the last time we see certain independent wrestlers because they're going back on the road. And finally, NXT Great American Bash. Man, what a killer event. But also going to feature some news updates for all of you. So, let's get started with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I'm your host, J-Rod here. So right now we're in Gatoh Move's ChocoPro event. As I mentioned before, they're entering their final matches. So basically, we do know certain teams are officially out, but they're still competing regardless. If you guys recall, Balianaki did say if you lost the first two matches, you're automatically out. There's already two teams from two different blocks that already have that, and that is Dragon Ninja and White Komanachi. Well, if I pronounce it right. But right now, let's go with Block A. We have the Egg Tarts, Koishikawa, and Hagane Shinui taking on Misayaka, which is Sayaka and Minoru Fujita. Man, this match was unbelievably good and really interesting. But however, I think we should skip ahead what happens because there's implications that took place. It was Hagane who pinned Minoru Fujita, and it caught and also made the Egg Tarts to gain 2 points. But however, it did not end that way. Koishikawa reminded Hagane that he has a right to challenge for the Super Asia Championship, which Minoru Fujita has in his possession. Now, Minoru Fujita kind of protests a little bit about this was not a singles competition, but with interest of fairness, he's well aware that he's not afraid to back down from a challenge, and of course, Hagane agreed that he would like to challenge him for the title. But however, Emi was not agreed with the idea of having this match taking place. But however, she will decide when this match will take place. However, she already made that decision earlier in the day, later on in the day, should have met on the 31st of July. So this is going to be for the Super Age Championship. I'm excited to see what Hagane gonna do. So far, Minoru Fujita already obtained the title when he beat Balinaki. He even defended it against Mei Shiruga. This will be his second title defense so far. So that's pretty much what happened in that part. Now let's go with Block A. So we have Wasao Inaki consisting of Ayumi Hayashi, Ryo Mizunami taking on Tropic Wild, consistent of Yuna Mizumori and Saki. Now this match was pretty good too as well. However, I know there are fans who probably would have liked to see Ryo Mizunami and her partner win the match, but however, I have noticed that Tropical Wild are one of the teams that could most likely win the block and may have earned the right to challenge for the Asian Dream Tag Team titles. So basically, this is one of those matches. But however, the match ended with Tropical Wild winning the match, allowing themselves now to be in the lead in the point charts. Now let's look into points. Who do you have? Best Bros, they currently have 1 win, 2 draws. That's a total of 4 points. Tropical Wild, 2 wins and 1 draw. So that's 5 points. Dragon Ninja, 3 losses, 0 points. Wasai Onaki, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss, total points 3. Now we'll go to Block B. Melt Brain Dancing, 2 wins and 1 draw, total points 5. White Kominachi, 1 draw, 2 losses, total points 1. Egg Tarts, 2 wins, 1 loss. That'll be 5 points, I think. Yeah, 5 points. So they're in tie with Melt Brain Dancing, and of course there's Misayaka, 1 win and 2 losses. So the way I pictured it is this way: we could definitely see Melt Brain Dancing taking on Egg Tarts, and of course Best Bros taking on Tropical Wilds down the line. But we'll see where that leads us. I don't know when their next event will take place, but I will follow it more and see who's coming up. So let's move forward. Now we got the NWA Powerrr. So it opened up with the NWA television title with the 6 minutes and 5 second rule between Saura Nara and the Pope. Now this was a very good match, but at some point in this match, Pope did use the one weakness. As you know, Saura Nara was viciously attacked by Colby Corino because he felt that Saura Nara took something that belonged to him, a chance for the title. But it was a good match, and of course, everything was great. And it was the Pope that won, and he showed respect to Saura Nara. But however, he received unexpected visitors, which is Austin Idol, Tyrus, Black G's, and of course Jordan Clearwater. Now they decided to set up an interview. They decided to show disrespect to Pope, saying that beating Saura Nara, he's a nobody, believing that he did not beat nobody. However, they are fully aware of the implications. Now, if you guys know this or not with the NWA, if you're currently holding the NWA television title, if you were able to defend it 7 times without losing it, you earned the right for a shot of the NWA World Heavyweight title. However, it appears Austin Idol doesn't believe that he could pull it off. He believes now his time is up. Tyrus is the real athlete that deserves to have that belt. So basically, Austin Idol still has the idea of winning the 10 pounds of gold, but he has to do it the other way around, not directly to Nick Aldis. But that's another conversation. But they believe that he has to put the title on. That he did not beat him properly. So basically, Austin Idol believes that the Pope is a fraud, and that's what he is. Now, the next thing we have is a women's tag team match. We have Sky Blue and Thunder Rosa taking on Kylie Ray and Serena Deeb. Now, majority of this time of this match was mostly focusing on Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. Now, you probably ask, why would they focus on that? Now, we do know Serena Deeb does have an opportunity for a rematch. As for Thunder Rosa, she could be the next person to challenge for the title. However, this is more like the battle who's the best. Now, if you guys don't remember, last year Serena Deeb beat Thunder Rosa at an event last year, which was done by Primetime, which is the company known as United Wrestling Network. That was what's his name? Marquez, I think his name. So basically, that's how she lost the title. But however, it's still yet to be seen what's going to happen. But the match was pretty good. But however, it was Kylie Ray to pick up the victory when she pinned Sky Blue. Now, the next thing we have is the War Kings. Now, we're starting to see the War Kings are falling apart. Last time, Crimson was about to cross the line. He was about to hurt Slice Boogie. But Jack Stane did not like that. So he was trying to be peaceful, but however, he really, really pissed off Crimson when he called out Slice Boogie. It made no sense why. But the story is probably saying that maybe we'll see War Kings end once and for all. Now, we see a 6-man tag team match, which is Lucha Libre rules. We have Hawks Airy teaming with El Rudo. We know him as Sam Adonis taking on La Rebelión, Mecha Wolf, and Bestia 666 teaming with Homicide. This match was all Lucha Libre rules. Now, if you guys don't know that, then it's a very interesting match. You can tag in once your partner is out of the ring, so you don't need to tag them in by hand. It always happens. I've seen that many times over, so that's why they call it Lucha Libre rules. But it worked. But however, I have to say, Rebellion and Homicide teamed up very well. I have to say, kudos to them on their part. It did allow them to win when they pulled off their finisher, which is the 450 thanks to Mecha Wolf. Now we get to the main event, which was the NWA National title, which was vacant. You're probably wondering why was it vacant. Nick Aldis did not like the fact that no current champion is allowed to participate in the Battle Royale, and he thought it was a sham. So Nick Aldis had no other choice but to have Chris Adonis to drop it, and that's pretty much it. But now he had to regain it back. The match was unbelievably good, but however, when the Master Lock was placed on JTG, Fred Rosser shows up and threw in the towel, and I think Trevor Murdoch was questioning Fred Rosser's motives. Like, why would you do that? This is not the right way to go. But he felt, I have every right to protect my friend. But yes, but you made him look bad. So the real question is going to take place now. What's going to happen between JTG and Fred Rosser? Would JTG not be would ever forgive him for what he did? Who knows? So we now know that Chris Adonis regained the title, and now he's the national champion. So only time will tell, but we'll be keeping apprised to what's going to happen in the upcoming events with the NWA. Alright, so we got AEW Dark. I'm going to assume this could be the last time we see some of these independent wrestlers that were brought in during the time of the pandemic. As you know, AEW are now heading back on the road on Wednesday nights. Right now, let's go with start to finish. Opening match was Lance Archer versus Ryan Mantell. You can guess right away that match ended finishing quick thanks to letting the dog out of his leash. So you can tell. And of course he put him in the blackout. 1, 2, 3. That's good night, Irene. Next up, we got QT Marshall and Aaron Solo of the Factory, along with Nick Camarado, taking on Tyrell and Terrence Hughes, the sons of Devon Dudley. I have to say my favorite part of the match is when the boys actually pulled off what their infamous "What's up?" Yeah, they did exactly shades of their daddy. I thought it was classic. I love it. But however, there was still no match for the Factory, and it ended with QT Marshall doing the DDP, the Diamond Cutter. Excuse me. Next up we have is the waiting room. Now, the recent guest is Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. Now, we know they broke up because Sonny Kiss have noticed Joey Janela has a change of attitude. But it looks like they got back together because I think Joey Janela forgot that the one person who always been by his side was Sonny. So basically, it's more like who had your back all this time, win or lose. So that kind of played out in a very powerful way. So we'll see what happens in the upcoming events with them in it. Now the next match we have Abaddon taking on Natalia Makrova. Now this match was so good because Natalia had no clue what to do when it comes to Abaddon. But you can guess Abaddon with her unorthodox ways, that's how she wins her matches. Matt Sydal taking on Carly Bravo. Good match. It was fun. Of course, he pulled off his infamous submission move, and it was already over by then. Next up, we got the Blade and the Bunny taking on Trey Lamar, but you can guess with interference from Matt Hardy and the Bunny. Bunny tossed the brass knuckles up to Trey and Goodnight Irene. So basically, he used it on Trey Lamar to win the match. Next up, we got Bear Bronson along with Bear Boulder taking on Big Trouble Bishop. This guy was a huge dude. Now, you probably guess, could Bear Bronson pull it off? The answer is yes. Now, I have seen how the Bear Country has been, excuse me, one of the most interesting, powerful tag teams in the division. And I have to say they played it pretty well. But however, this was Bronson Reed. Bear Bronson. He pulled off an amazing victory. He actually, this is something good that we see where we see big guys competing. Next up, we have Marco Stunt and Fuego del Sol taking on Baron Black and Ryzen. This match was also good because we finally get to see Fuego del Sol pull off the infamous move Tornado DDT. And that's what he did. He won for his team, and of course, Sammy Guevara and the rest of the vlog crew showed up to congratulate him. So it was a pretty good moment. So I'm very excited for that, for Fuego for pulling off an amazing victory. Next match, we have Chris Statlander taking on Viva Vam. A pretty good match. If you guys don't know who Viva Vam is, Viva is a SoCal wrestler from here. Seen her before. But Chris Statlander put her in the Big Bang Theory and lights out. 1, 2, 3. It's over, baby. Next up, we have members of the Rhodes Wrestling Academy. Chad Lennox and Zachariah taking on the Varsity Blondes. Once again, the Varsity Blondes continue to impress me, but also the Rhodes Wrestling Academy students. They did a pretty good job holding their own, but they were still not enough to take on the Varsity Blondes. Next up, we got Angelico versus Prince Kai. Now, you can guess how this one goes out. Angelico put Prince Kai in a submission, and he had no other choice but to tap out. Next up, we got Ryan Menneth along with the Wingmen taking on Wheeler Yuta. This is the first time Now, this match was kind of interesting. Now, we normally would see wrestlers like Menneth win the matches, but however, the roles were reversed. It was Wheeler Yuta who actually won. Now, is there a possibility that AEW could have an interest in Wheeler Yuta? I don't know. But if they do, I would like to see him participate a lot. Next up, we got the Pinnacle taking on the Pinnacle, Sean Spears and Wardlow taking on Rosario, Grillo, and Hunter Knott. Match ended like very violently. You can tell it was Sean Spears who pulled off the victory for his team. However, he wanted to dismantle his opponents with the chair, and the ref had to stop him. So he's still being delusional as always, very precise and vindictive of everything else he's doing right now. Next up, we got Kylan King taking on Tay Conti. Awesome match. As you know, Tay Conti is a very short woman taking on someone taller than Kylan King. But as you know, Tay Conti, who's a master of, as a trained judo, you know she'll pull off a victory, and that's exactly what she does. She used her weight against her, and boom, it was over by then. Next up, we got the Dark Order taking on the Dark Order. Alex Reynolds, Alan Five Angels, 10, and Colt Cabana taking on Dean Alexander, Will Day, Chandler Hopkins, and Jason Hotch. This match, well, I can tell you right away, it was the Dark Order who won, all thanks to Alex Reynolds to pull it off for everyone else. Next up, we got Jack Evans along with Matt Hardy taking on Mike Sydal with Matt Sydal. This match was pretty good, but however, Jack Evans was the better person. He knew how to every trick, but however, you can tell Matt Hardy will always try to help make sure he wins his matches. Next up, we got Red Velvet taking on Ashley Voss. This match was pretty good. She ended it with that spinning heel kick or something, and boom, lights out. 1, 2, 3. She won, and that's all. That's all she wrote, folks. The final match, we have Chaos Project with Luther and Serpentico taking on Eddie Kingston and Penta Cero Emmett. As you can guess, it was Penta who pulled off the victory for his team. Now, you have noticed recently, Eddie always lets Penta win the matches. So basically, he's trying to stay on his good side. So it was alright. But we'll see what happens tomorrow with Kingston and Penta taking on the Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles. So let's move on with NXT. Okay, so we got NXT, the Great American Bash. This time we have about three titles, but also reveal who will be involved in for next week's NXT Breakout Tournament. Now let's go with the first match, which was for the NXT Tag Team titles. MSK, the current champions, taking on Timothy Thatcher and Ciampa. Now this was not a battle who was going to get the titles. This is about respect. This is more like we got the top veterans with the underdogs. Now recently, the commentators made a valid point that I think I agree with. MSK may have been the underdogs, but so far they were able to overcome the obstacles against any opponent that came in their way. Looks like Master and Ciampa and Thatcher are no exception, knowing they had to go through them too. So it was a good match, but somehow MSK were able to pull off an amazing victory and earn the respect. But now the real question remains, now that Ciampa and Thatcher were unable to capture the titles, who's next? So we'll see what happens then. Now, Regal and Samoa Joe came up with a solution to deal with next week between the rivalry between Karrion Kross and Gargano. However, he did state that next week it will be the NXT title on the line between Kross and Gargano, with Samoa Joe as the special guest referee. As long as no one provoked them, everybody be fine. I think the one person who I think is going to have a hard time not to provoke them is Karrion Kross. But we'll see what happens when next week. Now, Kushida has now made a statement knowing about his recent attack against Diamond Mine. As you know, about 2 weeks ago, he was attacked by Roderick Strong. We don't know why he made that decision, but if this is for the Cruiserweight title, then it's so be it. We'll see what happens then. Now, the next match is the $1 million title championship. If Cameron Grimes loses the match, he has to be LA Knight's Butler. But however, the match was pretty good. I'm not saying it's one of the best, but I did like how LA Knight was able to cheat his way through to ensure Cameron Grimes remain as his Butler by using the title when he did the DDT without the ref noticing it. So he played a pretty well sneaky part of it. And of course, LA Knight did tell Grimes that he has work to do. So we'll see what happens next week. Now, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are not in a great happy mood. As you know, they could have faced for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles, but however, they have to deal with two individuals. The people that they got themselves involved with got Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. So basically, this is now personal between the two teams. Now, as I mentioned before, we have the NXT Breakout Tournament. Here are the 8 competitors: Trey Baxter, Carmelo Hayes, Andre Chase, Josh Briggs, Hikamen Jiro, Joe Gacy, Odyssey Jones, and Duke Hudson. Now, I do know some of these guys. We've seen them before on either 205 Live or NXT, but it's a great choice. I can't wait to see. This tournament will begin next week. Next match, we have the NXT Women's Tag Team titles between Zoe Starks and Io Shirai taking on the Ways, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Now, this is one of those matches that I think I enjoyed the most because this is very interesting. Zoe Starks and Io Shirai are willing to admit that they're not friends, but they respect each other. And of course, the Way always claim that they are a real team and they're a real family. But however, the match could have gone the Way's way, but all of a sudden the lights turned off, and this recent battery charge that we've been watching for the past couple of weeks, we didn't know what it meant, and it turned out it meant for Tegan Nox. Yes, folks, Tegan Nox finally returned to NXT for almost a year, been out due to a torn ACL and hurt. But what I did like is how Candice LeRae acted like she saw a ghost. Tegan Nox hasn't forgotten what she did to her. She took 1 year of her career from her, and now it's payback time. But however, it was Zoe Starks who pinned Indy Hartwell to become the brand new NXT Women's Tag Team titles, which is good. But however, the feud between Tegan and Candice LeRae is now rekindled, and it's going to be a good one. Now, during the commercial break, you don't see this. Laying in the apron was Indy Hartwell, and here comes Dexter Lumis, basically carrying her out. Index is back together, or hopefully if that's the case. But we'll see what happens. And of course, Beth Phoenix, once again, doing this like a Cinderella story, is back on it again. Sorry, guys. Now, Toni Storm, as you know, is not a happy camper, even during interview. She's not pleased that she's not getting what she wants, which is the NXT Women's title. But however, as you know, a week ago, Sarray wanted to challenge her. Toni Storm doesn't think that she's on her level, but sooner or later, we'll see that match happen, even if Toni Storm says no. Hit Row continues with their celebration, knowing that that Isaiah Swerve Scott won the North American title, but we'll see what happens with this group, what they do down the line. Now, the main event was Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. I have to say, this is one of the best matches of the night. It's more like who will be proven, but I don't know if I can say this. I feel like this could have implications for the NXT title. Now, I feel like whoever wins this could get a shot of the NXT title between Cross and Gargano. But however, I feel this match was more like Cole was trying to prove a point that he will be nothing better without him. That Kyle O'Reilly is worthless without Cole. But Kyle O'Reilly wants to prove he can do things on his own. But of course, there was a moment where Cole crosses the line mentioning Kyle O'Reilly's wife. He lost it, but however, it was Adam Cole that pulled off the last shot and Tequila Sunrise on O'Reilly to win the match. So I think that's it what we got for NXT. So let's move on with the news updates. Okay, as you guys may or may not have been aware, this news updates, you may or may not remember this wrestler named David Starr. Now, those who are not familiarized with him, let me brief you who David Starr is. David Starr was a well-respected independent wrestler back in his day. He has wrestled mostly out of Europe and the UK. About a couple years ago, he was asked no longer to participate in Evolved, Progress Wrestling, and WXW due to his controversial matter that he conducted, basically What he did is that he stomped on the WWE NXT UK title, which brought the attention of Vince that he was not too pleased that their piece of property was trashed. Just like that. But that wasn't the worst part. If you guys remember, not too long ago, we remember last year, David Starr was brought on accusations against him by his ex-girlfriend, telling him that he was a sexual predator, that he committed abuse and all this and that. Now, David Starr never denied, or how do I say this, confirmed it, but he did admit that he wasn't a sexual predator. He felt like he was just awful with partners, and that's pretty much it. But however, his wrestling career was over from the moment this accusation started. Basically, he had to drop every title that he ever held from any of the promotions out of the UK and Europe. But also, he had to step down from the company that he worked for, which is We Are Independent, which is a promotion that are trending to unionize pro wrestling. But here's the kicker. Today, he actually tweeted for the first time in over a year. This was something different because, as you know, we've seen guys like Joey Ryan, who tweeted many times over, but his was very, very quiet. But he did reach out a statement that he posted out today. Now, this is what he posted out today. Today, over the past year, I took time to address my numerous issues. The first time in my life, I was honest with myself and others. I face harm that I caused. While I'm not guilty of assault or physical abusing anyone in any way under any circumstance, that doesn't mean I wasn't toxic. Point blank, I was a cheater, a liar, a gaslighter. I created chaos, self sabotage, and I turned everything into a self pity party as I had no agency. I was comfortable playing the victim and used victimhood mentally to garner sympathy. When I would get caught cheating, I would lie and gaslight intensely to protect myself. There were times where I expressed my suicide thought as a way to distract my actions. There's no name for that behavior, no behavior other than mental emotional abuse. That mental and emotional abuse is disempowered. That abuse, the ability to abuse, have lasting impact on a person's psyche, and that's what I did. I empowered people. I created and toured drama for people. To harm that I caused with no limit to my personal relationships, while I pop myself up as a fighter of social justice in areas I did not practice the ideals, and I preached in particular. Now this goes on, but basically he was explaining his actions. Now this is something that we normally don't see, but it looks more like he's trying to get himself back on track with his life. Now, I doubt he will return into wrestling, but we'll see what happens when all of this, uh, when he, when all of this comes to light more with him. Now, the great news for all of you guys in GCW world, it's been announced that GCW will be doing a 3-day tour throughout the month of July, participating in various events. The first one will take place on the 16th at Nueva Generación Extrema in GCW in Monterrey. On the 17th of July, Vanguardia at Pachuco Hidalgo. And then finally, a clash between another promotion, Zona 23, at the Junkyard. Now, the only 5 wrestlers involved in this is Schlank, G Raver, Jimmy Lloyd, Eric Ryan, and Alex Colon. Now, here's on a note, only the July 18th with against Zona 13 will be only streamed on Fight TV. So the other shows will not be streamed whatsoever. But I'm kind of curious. I heard of this promotion, Zone 23. I've seen some videos. They do many of their hardcore death matches in a junkyard. it's a pretty interesting event, so you should check it out. Now, for the last thing, as you know, where I want to mention, you may or may heard already, Jey Uso got in trouble again. There's a DUI now. This is the third time it happens. First time in 2.5 years. Apparently, it came out with the alcohol of 0.25, 0.205. That looks like it's the highest. However, WWE officials are not too pleased with Jimmy Uso's behavior, with his recklessness. Now, it's still no indication what's going to happen, but reports that came in that WWE are going to make a decision what they're going to do to him. Now, there are fans are speculating that he could get fired, but we'll see what happens. I will follow up on this if there's any new information about Jimmy Uso. So I think that's pretty much it with the news updates. Well, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Uh, Coming up, I have, of course, AEW Dynamite, Game Changer Wrestling's latest event that took place on the 4th of July, Backyard Wrestling 3, and of course the last two of the New Century events by Stardom that took place this past March, and there'll be others like this sooner. If there's any news updates, that I will follow up on that from anything, so we'll see where they're gonna go. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu, so goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.